There are many things that people can analyze in a review: emotion, comedy, plot, logic, etc. What do I analyze the most other than those things? Character development. It's always important because characters and their internal conflicts make a story what it is, whether it's something symbolic or just a regular adventure story. For my review series, I wanted to discuss each season 4, 6, and 8 episode in which there were unfortunate implications to show all of you something, and you'll understand it as we keep going through every single episode. It's not just the fact that Show Poppy isn't as awful as people make her out to be. Every single journey has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Every single hero and villain has an origin story. Every love story can either have its tragic outcome or happy ending. Here, it's pinpointing where all these ideas about Poppy being horrible came from. It seems to have started in the later seasons, which is why I chose the seasons I did. I think it's important to look at the good and the bad. We're going to be going through a lot of bad on this list, but we're going to start off with a good episode that definitely is a highlight for Season 4, and shows Poppy at her best. It's not the best way she's portrayed, but it's one of the best. Let's begin! The episode starts with Branch searching around the environment. He examines some mud, which leads to the cliché tasting the mud bit in survival clichés. After that, he finds some tracks leading to a trap that Poppy and the others got caught in. Obviously, the gang is not too happy, but why is that?
That's right, because someone put traps in the "don't put your traps here" zone.
Look, a legitimate reason to be angry at Branch.
Witchcraft!
But in all seriousness, this is an understandable reason to be angry at Branch, because Poppy and the others gave him areas where he shouldn't put his traps. A "don't put your traps here" sign, if you will, and yet he still put traps there. I'd be mad if someone did that too, especially after we told them, don't put your stuff here where we're doing things publicly. It's like a "don't smoke here" sign. It's there for a reason, the same way the "don't put your traps here" sign has a reason.
We've talked about your trap setting problem many times, Branch. It's why we had that intervention.
Again, legit reason to be upset at Branch, knowing that they had a meeting where they talked about the issue and coming to a compromise, to which it still happened. Then we get a cutaway showing the meeting where Branch tells his friends that he doesn't have a trap setting problem, and then they get trapped in traps under their feet. There's an idea for a joke here, but it's way too brief and the timing was a small bit off. It's not that funny a cutaway gag. He ends up saying that the situation is different, as there is a dangerous creature lurking around the village. Now I'm on Branch's side. Public area or not, everyone needs to be careful about critters that could legit hurt you or attack you. It's like park officers telling the campers not to throw food out into the forest, where the raccoons could get it, because when you feed a raccoon, more of them show up, and some animals in the forest could have rabies, or could claw at you, bite at you, or put you in serious peril that you're sent to the hospital.
You're always finding crazy reasons to add more defenses.
It's time to play! Everyone's favorite game is Poppy in Character! Yes, moving on. But seriously, if you were Poppy and you knew that you had these interventions with Branch about his traps, and yet he still put up traps where he shouldn't have, you and I would think he was making up reasons to keep his traps. I know a lot of you are going to ask, but shouldn't Poppy and the others at least consider Branch's ideas? Sure, I think so. But wouldn't you need proof that the critter exists and is a legit threat to the village? We, as the audience, know he's telling the truth, but they don't. Check and mate.
Because true friends are supposed to tell you that you're crazy when you're acting crazy!
Again, how do you know? How do you know he's acting crazy? It's a boy who cried wolf situation. He did something like this in I'll Be Watching You as well, where Poppy said she needed time to think about if the plants were safe to use, but Branch went against her orders anyway. She was obviously upset, but yet they came to one of the best messages of the show together. It's the same thing here. Poppy obviously does have a legitimately good reason as to why the trap shouldn't be set up everywhere, and the whole true friends are supposed to tell you you're crazy when you're acting that way. If there's one thing I know about Poppy in some situations in regards to the series, it's that her emotions get the best of her. When she's angry, she'll sound like an asshole, but she really isn't. The same goes with literally everyone else. Then we get the stupidest part of the episode, and the only part of it that I don't like.
Our frustration with Branch has united us.
Aww. I'm sorry, but that is so dumb. Frustration with anyone should not be something that unites people. I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be going for a laugh, but still, it's stupid. Branch lets them down, and Poppy goes on to tell Branch to take down his illicit traps. I would have originally questioned, what about the traps that could be placed in areas that didn't have a forbidden trap zone? I was questioning that until I heard that line and looked up the word illicit. Illicit means forbidden by law, rules, or customs. Now it all makes sense. She's not telling him to take down all his traps, she's telling him to take down the traps that shouldn't be in the places they are in, which is fine.
You guys hear something? 'Cause I sure can't!
Again, this sounds like something an asshole would do and say. But remember, when everyone's frustrated, including Poppy herself, she's going to let her emotions determine how she reacts. Humans do it all the time, which is why we tell people to cool off or blow off some steam before we can settle an issue. Not doing so can lead to fights, fist, or argument that can get out of hand quickly. They all simply want to do their thing in peace without worrying about a trap going off. It makes sense. It really does. Plus, a scene later will change all context regarding the scene, hence why it's a brilliance of as well. He goes to trigger his traps, which is the opposite of taking them down or even dismantling them. Also, he says his traps aren't dangerous, and then we see a scene where a log gets crushed by a rock, and then that rock gets crushed by a safe.
I just wish they'd see I'm right about that, and start showing me a little appreciation.
Internal conflict set up perfectly. Time for the conflict to start. The creature ends up jumping Branch, and he wakes up in his bed. He's about to search for the creature in his book, but then gets a knock at the door, and then the best thing I've ever seen happens.
Hello?
How many trolls here like Branch? I said, how many trolls here like Branch?
Come on, people. This is a catharsis moment. Everyone, and I mean everyone, wanted this.
You are the most fantastic. It's so cute when you're sarcastic.
That one line mystifies me. Seriously. I looked up what causes dreams, and there were several theories on a website that I found. According to the site, dreams were, quote, stories and images that our minds create while we sleep. They can be entertaining, fun, romantic, disturbing, frightening, and sometimes bizarre. One theory about why people dream that stuck out to me was representing unconscious desires and wishes. Unconscious desires and wishes?
You okay?
I'm fine! Seriously though, this is a mind blow. Obviously we get this catharsis moment, enjoy it, when he wonders why they're celebrating him considering what happened earlier.
Mad at you about your traps?
Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy?
You seriously were mad at me.
I find it hilarious that Poppy found this so funny that she got down on her hands and knees. Then Poppy explains that something happened and Branch didn't know about it. She goes on to state that one of his traps caught something, and she ends up showing off a glow stick troll and gets a bit embarrassed. See, even in a dream, Poppy's still hilarious. I love it. We see that Branch caught a creature in his trap, and the people love his work. And we get another scene I don't necessarily like because of child pandering. Then Branch debates all this and thinks again. Seriously though, I love how the Growl Beast agrees with him. Also, you know this is a dream because the monsters are not trying to get out of their traps, which is what animals would do in real life. Then we get a few more contrived scenarios, but we're in a dream, so no problems for me. A predator tries to get Poppy and the other trolls while they're screaming, and it gets caught. Why? Is it like motion detected, or laser tripwired, or what? Ooh, good clue to one of my future reviews.
Alright, Branch fans!
Is she talking to the village, or the fandom itself? Also, apparently Branch's traps caught 157 predators. How? Preston, you almost forgot. We're in a dream!
Thank you, I love you too. But I still want to date other people.
I'm not gonna make that joke, because everyone has made that joke. He finally snaps when he sees his remote control Gary talk. He figures out that it was the creature and runs for his bunker.
Wait, no, Branch!
Can this please be the real life? Anyway, Branch figures out that the monster is a dream sucker, which puts its victims to sleep and projects ideal dreams. The only way to get out of it is to shock them awake, or they risk being trapped permanently.
Well, well, well.
I cannot tell you how many times I find it intriguing for Poppy to be the antagonist. It's just a hilarious concept. Also, I love that the song gag comes back for a third time. Dream Poppy tries beckoning Branch to stay, as life can be whatever he wants it to be, while posing in a very much romantic-looking way. Then Creek shows up. No, please, don't ruin this episode.
Here, you can make everyone finally see me as the manipulative troll I am.
Get out of here, Creek!
I deserve that.
Holy... A good Creek scene! This episode is a miracle from God. Also, good God, what is wrong with your eyes? Creek and Poppy have these eyes that stare into your soul, and it's honest to God creepy. Cooper ends up explaining the Gravity Falls method with dreams, that we're in a dream/Branch's mind, and he can do whatever he imagines in here.
Unlike your friends in the real world, here we value every single thing you do, and we always think you're right.
You can't mean that. What about when I'm wrong?
That's when you're most right!
I swear, this is a metaphor for the fandom in some way. They keep persuading, Branch tries to get away through flying, and immediately knows what to do to get out of the dream.
We can go have a catch! Jump. You can show me how to ride a bike!
Watch where you're going, whoa!
I'm sorry, those jokes were so easy. Branch gets out of the dream and catches the creature right in the act. He tries to get it, but it scurries away. This episode would have been just a gold and a normal episode review if it ended here, but we have one more special moment. Poppy shows up looking for Branch and apologizes.
There you are! Sorry about coming down on you earlier. I know that you were only trying to keep us safe, and even though I may not always agree with you, I always value you.
People, this is Poppy at her best. She realized that she went a bit too hard on him, probably on her own. Went to look for Branch and said that she knew his intentions were good, and that she always values him even though they may not always agree with each other. If that isn't a sign that Poppy loves Branch the way he is, I literally do not know what is. Anyway, we get a hilarious hug, it's funny because of her face, and a pretty amusing ending. And that was Branchception. It's the best episode of Season 4. While it's not the perfect episode, it's a standout hit for me. One of the episodes showing Poppy at her best, both in the dream and in real life. The comedy is pretty funny in most scenarios, it has really good development, the pacing doesn't drag or go by too quickly, and the emotion is especially good at the end. And the plot, while it's not unique, is creative. I started this review series off with this episode because it's a good lean-in with Poppy's development, and one of the puzzle pieces you need to figure out what I'm saying. While we may focus on Poppy throughout the series, that doesn't mean it's her and her actions alone we'll be discussing. We'll also be looking at her influence with others, particularly Branch. Speaking of Branch, next time we do Bunker List, one of the episodes that a good portion of people hate, but I don't. So hey, the game has just begun, and we're well on our way. If you stick with me, I'm gonna blow the lid off everything. Just trust me when I say we're already in for one serious adventure.